so excited to introduce you to my friend Tim S. Marshall. He is an author, a speaker, an entrepreneur, among other things. And today we are going to talk about sales strategies, sales tips to grow your small business. Tim, thank you so much for chatting with me.
Thank you. It's good to be with you today.
So we're talking all about sales because you're really good at it, and you have won lots of awards for and helped to build some companies. Like you have like national awards for sales.
Yes. The first thing I would like to say is that, you know, whether you have your own small company or if you're trying to succeed in sales, the number one component to sales is building relationships and trust. By far, that is the number one thing. So if we look at entrepreneurs, your percentages to achieve in business are astronomically higher once you learn how to sell. I mean, it's a proven fact.
Yeah, you have to sell. If you have a business, you need to sell and have people buy from you.
And if we look at the definition of selling, right, we could say, well, listen, a sales transaction is something where somebody just signs an agreement, right? Do you think that's 100% the definition of sales?
Oh, no. Oh, there's like all this stuff leading up to it.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's not just, but a sale is at the end, the transaction, right? Like you've made the sale. You have to close.
Right. The sale is actually an intangible. The sale actually happens sometimes. The greatest sale is something that you don't have signed. The sale is actually building a relationship with somebody where they say, you know what, I trust you and I'm gonna give you this name and I want you to call them. Or I'm gonna refer you. And then in return, you refer them to different people you know. So it's the intangibles that really catapult somebody into succeeding. It's leveraging your contacts. It's building the relationships. So if you look at a sales tip, it's really focused in on, you know, how do you present yourself in a way where you build value to the other person? And that is a tip where it's like you wanna do the research prior to.
Oh yeah.
So if I go out and if I'm gonna meet with somebody, I wanna do the research prior and get to know them. Because once I do that, a tip is that I'm more comfortable. So before I met you, you know, I did research online and said, okay.
You stalked me online, it's cool.
Yeah, just a little bit. just a little bit. You know, did you get my 8,000 text messages? Did you erase them?
Block him.
But I changed it and then I don't know, I switched a different number though. You got the different number. So.
But no, that's kind of that, it makes the other person feel really good. Like it gives you the opportunity to make that person feel good, which obviously like breaks the ice when you're meeting with them.
Absolutely.
Because now they know like, oh, cool. They know a little about me.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, when you do, you know, and I say this all the time, here's a sales tip, right? If I practice building relationships with anybody, whether it's somebody I meet in the elevator, you know, maybe it's somebody that's bussing a table, maybe it's somebody that's waiting a table, maybe it's a plumber, whatever it may be, you actually learn and build yourself up in a way that you're just magically creating relationships automatically and you don't even know you're selling. So then when you do have to sell and you look for that, you know, here's an agreement and if you need something signed, you sign it, it's not really even asking for the order anymore because you built this freedom of trust. It's like this overwhelming sense of, man, you know?
Yeah.
I like this person. I'm gonna help them and they're gonna help me. And that's the key. And you know, another tip is that, you know, sometimes we get caught up with the numbers of what we have to try to sell, whether it's, you know, we have to make certain payments if you have your own small business or if you're in sales. But at the same time, you wanna make sure that you're not just focusing on the number all the time. You know, because if you're looking up at the scoreboard, you're gonna get hit from the side, right?
Yeah. I feel like a lot of us like can be more reactive instead of proactive.
Absolutely.
And that is a lot of businesses. I know I have clients of mine that will call me on like a slow day or something, and they just are freaking out. Like, what can we do today, immediately, right now, to drive in sales? But it's that constant building. And I know that you talked about the activities, like what do you need to do on those daily, weekly, like.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like first thing in the morning, I read 30 minutes. Something on, building myself up, sales, entrepreneurship, leadership, something that is going to get my mind going. Another good tip is read out loud. Practice voice inflection. People respond, especially when you pause, or if you communicate in a certain way where you have a tagline message. If I said, you know what, this product is really good. Okay, and I told you 8,000 different things about the product, what are you going to remember? But if I said these things, but then I stopped in one sentence and said, this product does this better than anything else, and this is the reason why, and paused.
Oh, so it's like presentation skills that you're crafting along the way for sales.
And that's why it's so important when I say building relationships with strangers, because you're constantly crafting your skills. So if you've gone to a seminar sometimes and somebody has, all these different screens up and they have the same monotone all the time, what are people usually doing?
Oh, so boring on their phone.
It's so boring, right?
Yeah.
You gotta have fun with it, right? You gotta bring some game to the table. And what you do is you literally exercise yourself in the morning, which is between your ears. And then you really have a fluidity. And the biggest thing is, and I know you asked me a question before, is like, sometimes we get caught up in trying to do 8,000 different things. Right? And then we have this that happens, we got our phone, we got this, we got LinkedIn, we got all these different things, outlets. How do we do one thing really well? Well, what is your biggest problem that you need to solve during your day? So simplify it. Simplify it. And then have a cadence of order. What is the most important thing to do? Maybe it's finding 5 new prospects a day. And don't stop until you find those 5.
Well, that's what you say. You say to do the hardest thing first.
The hardest thing first.
Like the thing that's uncomfortable for us, like that we want to just say, oh, I'll do it later. And then, all of a sudden, the end of the day and you haven't done it. Do it first.
Do it first. And it's the same, public speaking too. The number one fear is public speaking, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's sales. That's sales. So it's still like crossing that barrier over. And, for example, I went into public speaking and I got in front of 500 people my first time. And I was nervous, to say the least, right? But I did it first because I wanted to do the hardest thing. So when I got in front of 300 people, or 5,000 people, or 5 people, guess what?
Now you're comfortable.
It's not that hard.
Yes. Well, and that's why I love when you said like to build relationships with everyone, because when you're doing that consistently every day, even if you gave yourself a goal of like meeting X amount of new people or having a conversation with people, and then when you are in that like big time situation where you are meeting someone that could be like a huge impact in your business, now you're like, yeah, this is what I do.
Because you're not fake and phony.
Yeah.
All of a sudden we're just like, I've seen people where we talk, and then I hear them in front of a customer and they change into something. I'm like, what happened? This person's not the same person that he was or she was. And if you are consistently trying to create relationships, automatically when you get in front of somebody, it's already there. You can be yourself, which is the greatest thing to be. And if you want to be the best that there is, when you take certain practice and activities and go outside of your comfort zone, which is building the relationships and sometimes getting uncomfortable in certain meetings, you start to break the barriers. And that uncomfortableness, when you need to go in and sell something, you're already relaxed.
Yeah.
Because you've done it. You've done it all day. You've done it all weekend.
Yep.
So it just becomes you. So even with writing books, it's like I started with a book.
Oh, you mean like this one that you wrote?
The
Power of Breaking Fear.
Right? So it was like, you know, this is kind of it's an awareness, it's breaking fear. And I'll give you an example. It's 20 years of notes, and it's not about selling my book, but it was like I was told, whatever, you know, I put too many secrets in that book for somebody to succeed. I should have broke it out in 3 different books. But because I became what I was for so long, you know, that book became me, I became the book. So when I can go into a company or start something or consult, I can usually turn things around immediately because I know it so well.
Yeah.
So the key to success of tip and sales is always be that salesperson. If you got that on and off switch and you use it too much, you're going up and down. And then what happens is you have too much self-doubt. So that's when I teach people. Now their sales tip. If you're gonna go into sales, or if your sales, you know, your sales job is starting a company or building a company, you have to be your greatest salesperson. But if you have the on and off switch, what's going to give that gap of time or what's going to fill that in is self-doubt. Because then all of a sudden you're turning it off, you're turning it on, you're turning it off, you're turning it on. So that way, if you keep it on all the time, and it doesn't mean not relaxing, it just means you become that. It's sort of like actors and actresses. They practice these roles, and the best ones live in that role.
Yeah.
They become that role. And you don't know the difference on the screen. That's sales.
Yeah. And most people who have a business, like they are, or they're selling, like it's easy to sell something you 100% believe in. Like you really believe your product or your service.
Absolutely.
Everyone needs it. Like
Absolutely.
your prospects need it. It helps them. Like it's all about helping the customer.
Absolutely, and that is huge. When I've gone into certain situations and then I asked, you know, what separates you from your competition? You better be on your A game. You better be on your A game.
Especially when you're sitting in front of a salesperson.
Yeah, you better be on your A game. You need to 100% believe in your product and believe in yourself. And that is through doing research, making sure there's good evidence for that other person that you're getting in front of, 100%.
All right, so for those that are watching, what is the #1 thing that they can do today? So they're done watching, like after they watch the video, they turn off. What's the one thing that they can do right now to help them get better at sales?
Build value in other people.
Bam, I like that.
That's it, build value in other people. You'll achieve anything.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tim. It was
Thank
so
you.
nice chatting with you, as usual. And where can people find more about you?
TimSMarshall.com.
Awesome. See you guys next